Hey, it's Rich back with you for another video. I'm standing here with my daughter, Cameron. That's actually Second Lieutenant Cameron Manor. She spent 4 years at West Point just getting out. She soloed when she was 16. Hasn't done a lot of flying since, so we're going to go up in the Archer today. She wants to get her private license, so we're going to go up and do a little refresher training for her before she starts her training again.
Alright, that looks good. Trim. You got trim there, and you got elevator trim there. Remember, that's kind of hard to see back there.
It's all good though.
Trims are good.
You can get out of here at 20. The time now is 09.
Fuel. So fuel, we want to make sure we got fuel in the tanks.
Yep.
And then our fuel selector should be on the tank with the most, but it doesn't matter because they're both pretty full right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's on left.
Yeah, and while we're down there looking at fuel, look at the engine instruments. They all look green. Everything looks good. Flight instruments. Remember how the directional gyro can preset, so you got to set it with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on 260. So there you go. Take that around to 260, and you have to do that, you know, routinely as that gets off. Not too many airplanes now. Modern airplanes have HSIs that have magnetic north seeking capability, so you don't have to do that. All right, airspeed 0. The attitude indicator looks good. Altimeter should be plus or minus 75 feet. Field elevation here is like 60 feet, so this needs to be right in there. So, you know, it should be more right in there. All right, you set that. Okay. That looks good. Vertical speed should be 0. We're not using our radios. And flight controls, free and correct.
Up.
All the way back. Good.
Yeah.
Flaps in this airplane are different than what you're used to because of the mechanical. So just let's select flaps, first notch of flaps. So you just pull it up. You don't have to push the button to pull it up. Just pull it up and let it click. The only time you got to push the buttons is to release them. And the best way to do that is pull it back a little bit and then push the button. And then you can just let them go.
Okay.
But to set them, you only have to just click them. Okay, so we're going to continue. All right, so let's add full power, track the center line. Once you add full power, we always look at the engine instruments, make sure they're still in the green. Airspeed's alive. That's good.
70?
Yeah, we'll use 70. Going right into the sun. Airspeed looks good. Engine instruments still look good. They're 70, so nice rotation.
60.
Nice and gradual.
Oh, wow, I just want to tone it down.
Now we want the airplane to accelerate a little bit before you put the flaps down. So try to let it accelerate to 80, or before you put the flaps up. So lower the nose a little bit. Let it accelerate.
To 80?
Yeah, maybe 75. Okay, now flaps up, and as you dump those flaps, you'll feel the nose go down because you lost some lift. And it settles a little, but then it picks up some speed.
Yeah.
And we're keeping that ball center, remember. It's like a fire there.
Yeah, there's a big fire.
And remember, you're trying to track this extended center line of the runway. And in this airplane, you can't look back and see how you're doing. So at about 700 feet, we'll make a left turn to 180 on the heading.
Okay.
All right, so let's roll in, clear left, make sure there's nobody out there, because that's the downwind. There could be somebody entering on the downwind. Most accidents happen air to air close to an airport. So it's real important to always clear, you know, areas before you turn.
What heading did you say?
180.
Tower, can I force her when we pop up at the right cross?
Good.
Runway 26 right?
Okay, so level off 2,500 feet. We'll use about 2,200 RPMs, heading 180, and get it, you know, all trimmed up for this power setting and speed, whatever the speed ends up being. And again, in this environment out here, we're kind of in a practice area for a lot of student pilots. There's airports, a lot of airports close by. Orange County, there's Seal Beach, or Los Al, Long Beach, Torrance. And a lot of that traffic can come out here, so we don't have traffic in the airplane, so you have to really, you know, be diligent about, and we're not talking to anybody. What's the frequency out here? 20, you remember?
2285. Sorry, that's 12195, below 4,500.
2195. So this is another way, you know, you can kind of broadcast what you're doing out here. I turn that down. Listen to that, and there's other traffic out here maneuvering, and you can kind of talk to each other. Seems pretty quiet out here.
We look very clear.
But the point is, visual reference out here is the key.
Yeah.
Now Kai has his iPad, but still, you know, you need to be real diligent about looking outside.
It's kind of nice though over the ocean. It's
you know, once you get to Oklahoma and you start training,
yeah.
you know, there's still possibilities, but it's not like out here.
Yeah.
There's a very high traffic area. Not tonight. As I mentioned earlier, Cam has not flown much. She soloed when she was 16. But then with all the stuff with school and lacrosse and all that, you really didn't do a whole heck of a lot of flying after that. We flew a little bit last year, but since then you haven't really flown.
No.
So kind of the idea is to just reacquaint yourself with some of the basics, making some turns. We'll do some normal turns, maybe some steep turns, maybe we'll do a stall and recovery. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just do some turns to the standard rate turns left and right and holding altitude at a constant power setting.
Okay.
So let's clear to the left and let's do a 90-degree turn to the left. So we're on about a 180, so let's go to 090 to the left. And we're clearing to the left and looking out to make sure we don't see anybody out there. Standard rate turn, that's looking good. And as you bank the wings, you got to pitch up a little bit. See how that wants to go down because your vertical component of lift decreases.
Yeah.
And the airplane wants to fall a little bit. Okay, coming up on 090, so roll wings level. And there's your altitude. Now we look off to the right. We roll back into a 180 heading. So let's turn right, clear right. And then a little bit of pitch up as you roll into that turn, or so you don't lose any altitude. And the private pilot gives you 100 feet of deviance, so you know they're not going to bust you up too bad if you go 100 feet either side of 2,500 feet or whatever altitude you're doing. So now we're going to do a full landing flaps or full flap stall. So just bring the power to idle. When you bring it to idle, the nose is going to want to fall, and hold 2,500 feet with pitch. See that airspeed coming back, and as soon as you hear the stall warning, just pitch the nose down and power up. There's the stall warning, pitch down, power up. Good job. You got flying speed. Now bring the flaps down one notch. Keep that nose down. Pull it back and then push. There you go. Good. Look at your altitude. So you didn't hardly lose any altitude. All right, let's bring it.
They're grading how much altitude you lose?
Yeah, you don't want to lose too much altitude, but you definitely want to get a positive pitch down to arrest the stall. Okay, bring the flaps all the way up again. Power to idle. And we're gonna do a full stall this time.
Okay.
And so this time we're just gonna let it stall, and I just want you to pitch down.
With no power.
Just hold that all the way back. There it is. Hold it back. Don't recover. Let's just do a full stall. See it buffeting?
Yeah.
There's a stall. See it just wants to stop flying, but see how it pitches down and it flies.
Yeah.
Right? And look, we only lost 300 feet. Power up. Okay, flaps down to 2 notches. You got flying speed, so pitch back up and climb. A little bit of right rudder as you climb. And then back on your 360 heading or 000. See how the airplane wants to fly?
Yeah.
So it stalls, it pitches down, it gets some speed, it comes up, it stalls, it pitches down, it gets some speed, and the whole time you're losing a little altitude, you're going like this.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay, this time, what do we got? Flaps 20? We'll just leave flaps 20. Okay, I want you to pull the power back, hold 2,500. This time, take it through a full stall, and when it stalls, just let go.
Okay.
Just let go of everything. Power, leave the power off.
Full stall is what we did last time?
Yeah. So just power to idle, haul back on the yoke, and just hold altitude. And when it stalls, just let go. Hold on, hold it back, hold it back. Don't let it wander. Yeah, rudder to keep the ball centered. No, don't, just hold it. Now just let go. Now just watch what happens to the airplane. It pitches down. Look, it's gaining speed. We'll just kind of, now watch what happens. It gets
Dude,
enough
I don't
speed
think
so
I've
it wants
ever
to
done
climb.
that.
Now watch what happens. Just let it do its thing. What's going to happen?
Stall again.
It doesn't even stall. It just
Go up and
it's
down.
seeking. It's seeking an airspeed, and the whole time it's going like this. It's getting
Wow.
closer and closer to the ground. See, so if you just let go, I mean, if you got enough altitude,
It'll fix its own problem.
it'll fix its own problem. Okay, so this steep turn now is 60 degrees bank. We talked about where that's at on the attitude indicator. It's an outside reference maneuver, so you want to pick an attitude relative to the horizon to hold your altitude, and then just hold it around all the way around, and then once you roll back out on 090, we'll turn to the right. So
Okay.
clear left.
So
Yep, and then we're going to go to the left. So try to hold altitude, maybe add just a little bit of power in the turn here, and you'll need a little bit more back pressure to hold altitude, because as you steepen the bank, the lift doesn't help you anymore. And just try to look out here and pick up a reference, and a little bit more bank, a little bit more bank, and then as you bank, you got to pull. So you're starting to descend a little, so pull, a little more bank, and keep that rudder. There you go. Perfect. Ball centered. Yeah, altitude looks nice. As you come around to 090, roll right back into the right.
Other way.
Losing a little altitude. So pull on your. There you go. Here comes 090. About 10 degrees early, roll out, and then steep to the right. There you go. See, look, when you rolled wings level, you see how that the vertical component of lift shoots you up. There you go. Nice. Now you're just looking out here and holding that horizon somewhere, whatever your reference is. See how you're descending? So you have to pull it up a little bit.
It's
there you
different
go.
on this side.
Yeah, it's different.
There, that's better. Come on.
So you lost 100 feet. That's still within tolerance. Now you're working your way back up. Now what happens to the stall speed when the bank angle increases? The stall speed increases, right? So that's why a lot of people get in trouble. That Challenger that crashed at Truckee got into a steep bank, and the stall speed goes up, and they think they got plenty of speed, and they stalled the airplane and went in.
Yeah.
Very nice. 2,500 feet. There's 090. Roll out. There you go.
PB practice, lane 165 Tango Whiskey, just south of.
Pretty
I
good.
get so sidetracked looking down.
That's
PB practice.
That's what happens. All right, let's head back to Long Beach now. We'll do some landings. So when we come in for these landings, we'll use a combination of different flap settings. This airplane only has 30 degrees, and you know we talked about like when you soloed the 150, that had 40 degrees. But you remember what I told you about soloing the 150 is
don't ever go to 40.
Don't ever go to 40, and the reason for that is if you got to do a go around, the airplane won't climb with flaps 40. And if they happen to get stuck, they're electric flaps, and that's why one benefit of these mechanical flaps is there's no electrical connections. It's just cables that go to the flap. So the electrical problem, you still got flaps. And like the guys that crashed that 150 in the cornfield, you know, the flaps got stuck in full, and they were doing a go around, couldn't get the flaps up because of the electrical malfunction, and they had no choice. Now they did an excellent job of when they realized they couldn't climb. A lot of people would have kept pulling back on the yoke trying to climb, you know, knowing that they don't want to get in the cornfield, trying to make it back to the airport, and then guess what happens? They stall it, and they lose control, and the airplane noses down, and they don't have time to recover, and they both die, essentially. So they did a great job of maintaining speed, even though the only choice was to maintain speed and fly it into the crash, into the cornfield, which is what they should have done. Now, they never should put flaps 40 in the first place, but after they did, they made a good decision in maintaining speed. But that's what you got to remember, because a lot of people in general aviation get behind the power curve, get slow, make a turn. When they make a turn, stall speed goes up, and then it's a stall low to the ground, and that kills a lot of people every year in general aviation. Now, you see the little hill? Dead ahead, that's Signal Hill. That's where we turn for downwind. Turn right. So when we turn downwind, we'll reduce power a little bit, maybe 1700 RPMs, and then we'll use 1 notch of flaps.
November 8 Whiskey Charlie, runway 26 left. Clear for the option.
Clear for the option, 26 left, 8 Whiskey Charlie. All right, let's turn right now, and give me a notch of flaps and hold 1000.
Left, clear for the option, 840.
Hold 1000.
Yeah, so you're descending a little. And give me one click up.
Charlie Victor, make
Good.
left traffic, runway 26 left.
And right there, wings level. And then look out to your left, and you'll see the 26 left runway.
Oh,
just
yeah,
by
yeah.
that's where we're gonna land. This is the downwind.
Okay.
We're gonna go out here a little bit and cheat in just a little bit.
On the highway, kind of.
Yeah. And he cleared us, so we want to get like a 45 out.
Yeah.
That traffic is kind oh, okay. He's really close, but
Behind us?
yeah, he's got us though.
He needs to stay out of our way. Okay, let's go to flaps 20. And
Tower Tobago 5553 Papa.
I think when you come up, you don't have to push the button, just pull it and then it clicks.
53 Papa left.
See how the nose came way up?
Yeah.
Now reduce some power, pitch down, and we're going to turn base. And let's hold 80 knots. And we're using pitch for speed. So if you want to speed up, you got to pitch down a little bit. And we'll turn our car beat on over here, push it down. And then roll wings level. Check final, make sure nobody's out there.
November 99 Juliet, start
Now
that
you
right
see
turn
26 left.
Side, direct northbound.
Okay, you got to come down. We're a little high.
So
There you go. Good.
Flaps.
Yeah, let's go to flaps 30. Good. And just line it up with the runway. And hold 80 knots.
Number 6 Charlie Bravo, traffic 11 o'clock.
Yeah, they're out. They're rolling.
Turn in direct northbound now 1000.
All right, maybe a little bit of power now. We're back on glide path. Try to hold 80. So we want to level out a little so we add some power.
67431 Long Beach Tower.
Just try to track straight down the runway. A little more power. See how we're getting low?
Yeah.
The wind's blowing us that way.
Number 99 Juliet, you can resume
There you
on
go. A
navigation.
little more power. And just try to hold constant power in there. Getting a little slow, so a little more power and keep the nose down. A little more
6 Charlie
power.
Bravo, crossing Spruce.
Good. And just think about flying down the runway. Don't really worry too much about landing. I'll follow you through. Good. Good. Now that wind's blowing you off. Good. Okay, now reduce some power and keep the nose down. There you go. And we're going to have to get, okay, power off and just give it a little left
Charlie
rudder.
Victor, I'll call you base.
Little rudder. See how that straightened out the nose? Perfect.
Again?
Now we're going to stop and do a takeoff.
Number 2 Romeo, we'll see traffic ahead to your left, northeastbound us as the climbing
Yeah,
out of
just
1000.
practice braking and then turn left on Fox 4.
Okay, so we got the airplane back in the hangar. Cam hasn't done any flight training for a while. You've flown a little bit, so
Probably a year, yeah.
it came back pretty quick, I felt.
Yeah,
like.
so that was my first time in the airplane for, about a year, but I thought it went really well.
Never flown a low wing,
never-
in training at least.
Yep, so this is my first time in the low wing, but I really enjoyed it. It came back pretty easily. I think
You
the
had a-
landing was maybe the only thing that
Yeah,
was a
that's
little bit different. But
Few repetitions.
Uh-huh.
What about high wing versus low wing? You had a preference?
this was fun to fly. I think as far as like visibility, you can see more like out the back in the high wing. So probably more visibility, at least for me, because I sit like shorter in the cockpit.
Yeah.
So, but this is fun. Yeah, I'm excited to train in this one though for sure.
And Cam soloed when she was 16 right here at Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
But then lacrosse and
Yep.
going to West Point, all that stuff made it difficult to really do much after you soloed. So
Yeah, definitely requires a lot of time. That I played lacrosse in college, and it was when I was flying in high school. It was around the same time I was trying to get recruited, so that kind of slowed down my progression with flying. And then same thing in college. It was like most of my extracurricular time went to lacrosse. But now that I've graduated and lacrosse is kind of behind me, I can focus more on flying, and I'm really looking forward to like wrapping up my private pilot's license finally. And yeah,
probably this year.
yeah,
Maybe.
hopefully this year. Yep.
Cool. So it's always a pleasure for me to get to fly with my family, and this is a great little airplane, nice trainer, great flight, and thanks for watching.